So a couple weeks back, I did a video called Why Modern Metal Vocals Are Terrible. And I got a lot of feedback. A lot of you guys agreed with me. A lot of you guys were, you're wrong, Glenn, you're wrong. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, man. There's many albums of vocals out there. And, a few names kept coming up in the comments over and over and over again. Number one was Ginger. And unfortunately, we don't have her here, so I thought we'd make do with Spencer Sotelo from Periphery. How's it going, Spencer?
Going great, man. I'm glad you could get the second place person. I wasn't the top pick, but you got me.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We're thrilled to have you, but I mean, let's face it, eye candy and whatnot. But seriously though, it's really great to have you on the show. And this is the thing, your name kept coming up over and over and over and over again, endlessly. Periphery has an awful lot of fans out there, especially in the whole, desktop music production world. So you guys have been massively influential over the last few years about just what you can achieve in a home studio environment. And the thing is, though, you guys deliver the goods when it comes to vocals.
Yeah, man. We've spent a lot of time over the years figuring out, okay, how do we take, metal vocals are aggressive, right? How do we take that and make it something where it's never been done before, make it something new? Because just screaming or singing and just one or the other, it's been done so many times. And we've been trying to incorporate almost like poppy R&B type sounds into that and disguising it under the metal guys.
Sure. And that makes perfect sense. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be one or the other, screaming or singing. There's so many different textures out there and so many different, places you can take influences for. And that's what's great about metal is you can work so much of that stuff into metal and still maintain that aggressiveness.
Yeah, for sure, man. And yeah, we've just been trying to keep it fresh,
Okay. That's super cool. Talking about keeping it fresh, I actually got to check out The Who, about a week ago. And that's the Mongolian throat singer guys. And that was really something else to see those guys live doing their thing. And that, again, that's just completely something different from anything else going on these days. Have you thought about doing any of that?
I'd like to learn how to do it. I mean, it's a crazy technique for sure. One singer, man, that's always influenced me. Probably still my biggest influence is Mike Patton. I'm sure you're familiar with Mike Patton.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I've gotten a lot of my influence and why I like to have so many different, wide variety of ups and downs, highs, lows, different characters and things like that. That's where I got that from.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when Faith No More's From Out of Nowhere came out in '89, and it just blew everyone away because it was just so diverse and there were so many different sounds on one record.
That's still probably my favorite Faith No More record.
Yeah, it was absolutely mind blowing. And they had a really badass bass player as well. I got to throw that in. Billy Gold just really tore it up on that record. But vocally, Mike Patton's just everywhere on that record, from lounge music to straight up, thrash. And just a monster vocal. So I can definitely see where that influence is coming in. I forgot that we also got Chris Liepe here. Hey Chris, how's it going? Yeah. Chris is in on this. Ulterior motive alert. We are trying to sell you guys something. Now, for all you guys who've been watching the show and hearing me complain about vocals, especially on my Monday mix reviews, I mean, we're getting some interesting music coming in, but a lot of it, the weakest part seems to be the vocals. A lot of the vocals are brought in almost as an afterthought, not as a forethought. And that's not necessarily such a bad thing, but it seems to be the vocals seem to get the least amount of attention when it comes to a record. Whereas for me, anyway, what turned me on to metal to begin with was the vocals.
It could be that in some cases that they're not getting the most attention. But I think the bigger problem is that people just don't know what they're doing, and they don't even know how to learn the extent of how much they don't know what they're doing, right? I mean, you've got so many tutorials on there on how to play guitar, how to set up your gear, how to set up your room, but how to actually sing aggressively and emote and be yourself and be other characters and do things that we see and hear our favorite vocalists doing, there really isn't a roadmap for that anywhere. And I say that with a little bit of a smile because Spencer and I have been working together for now, a little over a year. And we have that roadmap. If you are wanting to sing metal music, if you are wanting to sing aggressively, scream, and produce it, make it sound good, not just sing well, scream well, but actually make it sound right. We've got a whole suite of offerings, of courses, experiences for you to get into.
Yeah, we walk through, my methods of processing in the box, from EQs, limiting, compression, harmonic distortion, but also outboard gear and signal chain and all of that stuff.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite compressor, Spencer?
This one's sitting right here. It's an old 70s Yuri 1176 Rev E.
Oh, okay, cool. Do I got that? No.
That's my workhorse right there.
All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It's like I totally get where that's going. The 1176 has got a great grab. I got a couple of the stem models over here, and they got the different revs you can switch between. Mine are like A, D, and G, but it doesn't do E. Unfortunately, I'll have to go on Josh's case about that one. But honestly, 9 times out of 10. I work with a distressor. I've got one back here. It also doubles as a great anger meter.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a distressor, man. Great.
No, you can't. It just kind of, you set it and it works. 1176 is amazing, but you got to be careful setting it up.
Oh, you do. It's a very fast compressor, and you can really overcook with it. You got to know what you're doing with them.
Right, exactly. And you take the viewer through that, show them how to do it and not fuck up an 1176.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Okay, cool. I just want to ask that because it's like I remember when I got my first 1176 style compressor, I'm like, the fuck did I do to this snare drum? And so it's like a vocal, you're gonna hear it 10 times easier. A fuck up if you do it too hard.
Yeah, because the snare a lot of the times it's just the backbeat, right? The vocal, there's so many different transients flying around the entire time. You got to know how to tame them, but also let certain ones come through in certain ways.
Right, Chris, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I think a lot of people get hung up on gear being where you start.
Right.
In vocal performances especially, that is absolutely not where you start. And I think one thing that people overlook is that if you have a bad vocalist, if you have a bad vocal performance, if your vocals are not confident, it doesn't matter if you're using billions of dollars worth of gear or not. I mean, some of the best vocal recordings or vocal performances that we all love were recorded with an SM7B on hardly anything.
Right.
I mean, look at Chino Moreno, still records with an SM57 into a tape machine, or like a horrible tape machine. So if you're going to record good vocals, gear is great. But approach and learning how to, whether you're a singer or whether you are someone who is producing that singer, you need to know how to pull the right performances, the right emotions and techniques out of that singer, whether it's you or not.
Right. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Yeah, it's like it all starts with the performance. I mean, like people will put up with a low fidelity recording if it's a cool song, Perfect example being Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. That was a terrible recording and sold millions because it had a great vibe to it and, because it was believable.
Yeah. And we'll to go back to the Deftones too. Chino in those earlier albums, he couldn't sing that well. But the way that that he was emoting on that microphone and then the very simple things from a production standpoint that they did to shroud his voice in a certain way. And Spencer, you've got a chance to perform with Chino, right?
Yeah, I did. I got to sing Passenger with him on stage. I think that was back in 2014. Yeah.
Okay.
What was that like?
Still to this day, that was probably the craziest experience I've ever had in my life.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Did you feel like
yes.
You tend to focus more on bridging and like pop melodies? There's a lot of Michael Jackson in what you do.
Yeah, totally, man.
And once again, there's plenty of room for that in heavy music. I mean,
absolutely.
Even
so rhythmic, right? Like heavy music is so rhythmic, especially like what we're doing. It's like adding that R&B pop style vocals into it. It seems like it would go hand in hand, right?
Right. I mean, this is the thing. For the longest time, though, a lot of metal was essentially pop with the amps cranked.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are circling back on that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's like guitar riffs are cool, but it's usually the vocal melody you wind up humming after the fact.
Yeah.
That's what sticks with you.
I couldn't agree more.
If there is a melody. And I think that's another place where metal goes wrong so much is that when you can get through a whole 6-minute song and you can't remember any of the vocals because it's so static and there's no dynamics in there. It's just not worth repeating and not worth listening to because your ear can't latch onto anything.
I think that's been like this stigma with metal for a long time, that it needs to be like this tough, angry thing at all times. You know, we still get hate online all the time. Like, oh man, like this band's so good, but if only he didn't sing, if it was all screaming, it would be so much better. And yeah, dude, it's funny. Like still to this day, like I've been in the band for 12 years and we still get shit like that online.
Hate online? I have no idea what you mean. Yeah, I've never experienced that.
I laugh at it, man. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the way you got to do. Yeah, but whatever. Anyway, so we do have a vocal course for you guys. What's that all about, Chris?
We started last year by doing a warm-up routine, and that's free. You can click the link below on this very video and sign up for the free warm-ups routine with Spencer. He goes through his entire process of how he warms up. It's called Spencer's Warm-Ups for Total Destruction. And we go over how to warm up for screaming, how to warm up for singing, how to warm up for singing with distortion. And we do the whole thing. That's a free course. It is in the link description below. And then we thought, well, it's not enough just to do a warm-ups course. We need to do a deep dive and reverse engineer what has made Spencer who he is as a vocalist. And one of the coolest things about this experience is that, Spencer, you're not trained, you're not a vocal coach, but you've been doing things and evolving. You just said for 12 years as the vocalist of Periphery, you've never had an extended period of vocal injury. Your voice keeps getting better and better and better. Your recordings keep getting better. So you're doing things right. So many times, it's the teachers who can't do who are trying to teach you how to do. And the people who are really doing don't teach. And so the whole idea with these courses was to bring those worlds together. Here's someone who's actually doing it. Let's figure out how he's doing it, put this inspiration, put these techniques, these mindsets into your own projects. And I'm along for the ride as sort of a student teacher. I'm helping to translate what Spencer has been doing over these years and what works so well into a way that any student, any musician, any vocalist, any vocal production person can use to better their recordings. So that's really what these courses are, is it's taking someone who would have, Spencer, lifelong performer, musician who would have never made a course, and we are distilling this into something that you can use as a course, as creative kindling.
What's so crazy about it is that, it was a journey for both me and Chris. We spent about 2 weeks together doing this. And by the end of it, I had learned more about my voice than I even knew before about my voice. And it enabled me to be more of myself than I was already being. Chris taught me things, not by telling me, oh, do this, do that, but by saying, oh, this is what you're doing. These are the techniques you're doing. Oh, this is how you're engaging this part of your voice at this point. So now I actually know what I'm doing. Before I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And Chris kind of opened me up to knowing.
And so this bundle is really two parts. It's the singing and screaming with Spencer Sotelo, and then an entire dedicated course on vocal production. How do you get good sounds in the box? How do you get good sounds using external gear? How do you capture the performances that you've worked so hard to create? We go through an entire recording scenario. We have special guest Lucas Magyar from Veil of Maya. Spencer produces and tracks an entire Veil of Maya song. And Spencer, you have a kind of a cool relationship with Lucas in that you were part of getting him into Veil of Maya. And so you've been essentially like one of Lucas's coaches and mentors in a way. And to see you guys...
It's funny you say that, but he's an even better singer than I am.
He's a crazy singer, right? I mean,
that's awesome.
He's nuts, dude. Yeah.
But your production brings that out. And so... There's this awesome magic that happens in the studio where you have Spencer producing Lucas, and we get to sit behind the desk and look at what you do, how you work with Lucas, how you pull performances out, and it's really like learning by doing. And there aren't really any other courses that do this kind of thing. Like, hey, let's pop in on an actual recording session and learn from it.
Okay, so about the course, roll the tape.
There's only so many things you can learn from teachers. academics spend time studying, you are out there doing.
In analyzing, what am I doing wrong for myself? Why do I sound a certain way? How do I want to sound? Victories and the failures. We're going to reverse engineer what I've been doing over the past 10 years and really see from somebody who's done it.
That you accept that this life is about!
That was pretty nailed.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like a little bit more compression.
More support.
Letting less air out up here.
It's about!
Right. I'm going to try the Marilyn Manson thing for a minute over it and see how that changes my approach.
Okay.
Life is about! Fly devotion!
Defy!
This, like, the intensity is coming with the diction in the face and the way you're pronouncing it, and less from the body and, like, all this intensity, you know?
That character is going to come out in the room and kind of float around.
Lust and violence, brothers, we create! Drink of the blood!
I wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to scream here, I'm going to scream there. I almost let what's going on in the story here in the words that I'm singing bring that out in me. It almost happened like second nature just because I was immersing myself in that. Listen to the. There's a lot that happens from the time the sound leaves your mouth to when you're printing final audio recordings off of your DAW. And we get to delve into exactly what those elements are and how they're working together. Production isn't just gear and getting the sound, it's also getting a performance out of not just yourself, but if you're a producer, another singer, walking them through these mind states and these things you have to be thinking about while you're recording. If the vocal isn't right, nothing's right. I'm Spencer Sotelo, and your vocals are going to be right.
All right, so I just want to say thanks so much to Spencer Sotelo and Chris Liepe for being on the show. Now, you guys have this going for, and we did this, I wrote this down before we started so I wouldn't screw this up. Now, normally this whole thing would go for like $267. And but we've got a sale price right now for what, $89 for the main vocal course.
So yeah, it's going to be $89 for the singing and screaming course.
Okay.
And then if you want to get into the vocal production and recording and seeing how Spencer does all of the production and coaching of other vocalists, including working with Lucas Magyar from Veil of Maya, that's the Motormouth Vocal Production Bundle. And that's going for $169.
And we're going to have this on sale till what, May 29th, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that sounds like a hell of a deal. So for all you guys who are scratching their heads going, well, I don't know how to record vocals. I don't know how to sing. Help me. What do I do? Especially most of you guys who are showing up on my Monday Rick's reviews. This is the course you need to check out. It's not a question of, oh, wow, maybe I should get it. No, get it. Seriously, this is going to help. You're not going to find better instructors than these guys.
And, you know, like all the courses that, you know, you probably work with, this is something, you know, sign up for the free vocal warm-ups course. See how you like the vibe. You know, there's no risk there. And then if you buy the course and you hate it, we'll give you your money back. Like, we don't want to take anybody's money. So there's no risk at all for you to sign up and try it out and see how it's working for you.
All right. Well, with that being said, I think we'll wrap it up right there. Chris, thanks so much for being on the show. Spencer, thank you so much for being on the show. It's really great to have you guys.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
No, pleasure's all mine, seriously. And once again, make sure you follow the link in the description below. At least grab Spencer's free course. There's absolutely no risk to that whatsoever. And if you like what he does, grab the main course or the bundle. You're going to like what it does for your vocal techniques.